Well, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope you moms and special needs parents are having an awesome week. It has been a trying week for me this week, just kind of running behind on everything: mom life, work life, business life, life itself. So it has just been one of those weeks that are challenging. And as special needs moms and special needs parents, we just face those challenges and try to adapt pretty much, right? So can't believe it's going to be Thanksgiving next week. Holy crap. Like, the holidays have just approached us just full force, and this is where we're at, right? So I'm not even ready. And plus, I'm working on Thanksgiving because this year I have to work on Thanksgiving, have to save lives and everything. So hope you guys are going to spend that time with your families and do all the, grateful, thankful Thanksgiving things, right? So I see a lot on social media. People have already put up their Christmas trees and just started decorating. Like, I haven't even gotten to that part, to be quite honest. So I'm just kind of taking my time because, I work a lot of long hours, and that's just a activity that I like to do with my kids and put it up and have them put their ornaments, like all the ornaments that they've created over the years. So that's just one of the things that I like to do. So in this week's episode, I figure we talk about something that I think is very super important when it comes to being not only a parent, a special needs mom, and a special needs parent itself. We're going to talk about depression and anxiety. I know that as special needs moms, this is something that we encounter just all the time, probably daily, or we have battled depression and just, the anxiety still lingers, and you just are trying to make sense of how life is going to be after your child's diagnosis, after going through, multiple surgeries, testing, therapies, just all the things that encompasses being a special needs mom. And especially if you're divorced, and handling co-parenting and just the struggles that comes with, that can add to the anxiety and depression that you may feel. So I figured this is something that we can talk about in today's episode because it is something that is near and dear to my heart. And I know I still suffer from PTSD, anxiety, and some depression, especially with my two special needs daughters. Even though they have two completely different diagnoses, it's something that is just, it really just fucks with your mind and can really take you in a downward spiral. Now, for me, as far as with the depression and anxiety, it is, going through multiple surgeries. It is going through a really difficult divorce, struggling to co-parent with the other parent, and just trying to get on the same page with them. And it's just a difficult process. The anxiety of how many more specialists do I have to add on to my child's team? How many more therapists do they have to go to? How many, goals are we going to tackle on because they are behind? Life skills for your children. Are they going to be able to tie their shoes? Are they going to be able to put on their clothes or eat independently, or have life skills as far as, okay, let's make the bed. Let's do the laundry. Let's wash the dishes. And as a mom, this really just hits home with me as far as how to navigate in making sure they have life skills if they're able to, so they can function independently. Now, I can tell you from my personal experience in my journey, especially with my 12-year-old daughter, it has been, for the last 12 years, it has been a journey. And I fell into a postpartum depression And most people think, oh, well, that's kind of taboo because you're a new mom and this and that. No, it's a real thing. And it could spiral into something that can be very dangerous. And after I received her diagnosis, it's was one of the most challenging times ever. And I know I've talked about this in another podcast episode. And there was a lot of unknown what ifs, if she was going to survive, what life would look like for her. It was really fucking scary because you don't know the outcome. Like if I knew the outcome, then I would had a better chance to prepare. But of course, as parents, we're never prepared for the outcome or prepared on what's going to happen. And you can never prepare for what is going to happen with your child, right? So I know I fell into a postpartum depression. I honestly really didn't have a supportive partner that could understand exactly what I was going through. And it was okay, we have to take care of her. You have to get over this. And that's not what I was seeking. I wanted support. I wanted somebody to hear me. I wanted somebody to listen, to say, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this together. And a lot of times when you don't have that other supportive significant other, spouse, supportive partner, it makes it really challenging because you're pretty much dealing with these feelings all by yourself, right? That's one of the things that I experienced as I was going through this journey with her. Now, I'm not saying that I did everything right because I did not. And there's a lot of things that I should have, and I should have been present more. But I don't blame myself at all for any of those feelings because I was going through it, trying to process, trying to figure out how I was going to manage not only myself so that, I can take care of her and try to be there for the rest of my kids. So it was a really challenging time and it took a lot. And you know what? Yes, a lot of times we do escape in work, in, hobbies, in other things, in Netflix, whatever it is that we want that escape from, because we're trying to process feelings and everybody processes things in a different way. And yes, I might have dove into work more because I was trying to process and figure out how to take care of my child. And that's not something negative, and I'm going to blame myself for. And I think you, as the moms and the parents listening, you shouldn't blame yourself. But what I do suggest is that there is support, there is help, there are people there and support groups there to listen and to sympathize and surround you with love and really give you that ear to listen. And if you want advice, you can always ask for it, right? If you have a supportive partner, a spouse, you could talk to them about it and, have them wrap you in that love and support that you really need. A lot of things from my child's diagnosis, I developed a lot of PTSD. I developed anxiety because I never knew what was going to happen next. I never knew that every hospital stay or every illness, what was going to come out of it. It was a really, really difficult time. And it was really hard to kind of get myself to process these feelings and say, okay, how are we going to get this child to the next step? Get her to the next goal, get her walking, get her to where she needs to be, that maybe she can function independently. Maybe she can have certain life skills. Now, my child does have certain life skills. Yes, she needs a help on 80% of the things, but it's one goal at a time. It is one step at a time. And if she reaches it, that's great. If not, we'll just keep going until she does, right? That's one of the things that you can fall into a deep depression ignore everything, not get out of bed. And I know I have been there. It is not a really good place to be in. And I always encourage that if you can, therapy is a great tool. There are tons of support groups, even if therapy is not something that's affordable. There are a lot of free groups out there that you can just put it out there, vent. And there's other special needs parents, other special needs moms to be there to support you. In my coaching program, that is what I do. I support divorced special needs moms that are navigating the challenges of their medically complex children that have a new diagnosis and need resources, help, support, want to be heard, want to feel empowered. That is the goal. So their child can have life skills, they can accomplish steps towards a goal, have advocacy for their education. Those are the things that I touch and really dive deep into my coaching program. Now, when you're battling anxiety, it is just a fucking mindfuck. I am just going to say that because I am unapologetic on this podcast. Anxiety is like, oh, it's horrible. And just the crawling of your skin and just the pit in your stomach and just everything being hit at you at once and just being on edge. It is the most fucking awful feeling to feel that anxiety and just almost into a panic attack. It is not something that I would wish on anybody. But when we deal with our kids that have these complexities medically and they have, certain needs and challenges, it just really elevates it to like the 1,000th power. It really just takes you and just mentally and physically drains you because you're anticipating the worst, even though it might not be that bad, or you might think it's the end of the world when it's really not. Anxiety is something that, it has just taken over, especially when things are stressful, when things are not going right with co-parenting, not, this doctor is really just giving me the runaround, or the therapists are really not in tune on what I want to accomplish with my child, or, the school system is really trying to like put one over on you and not really hearing the needs that your child needs and you trying to advocate for what you want for them. Now, I know there's a lot of tips out there to, battle your anxiety and just to help with so you can be in a calmer space, like calm your nervous system down and just regulate yourself, whether it's taking a walk, working out, journaling, meditation, just sitting outside and just getting that breath of fresh air, going out with friends, diving into a hobby. Those are all things that I've found to really just lower the anxiety that I have, to get my nervous system in a more calm place and just get all the mind drama and the mind fuck out of my head. I know you moms listening out there and you special needs parents listening out there, and I know I like to ramble on my podcast, but I am just very unapologetic and I just like to share my experience when it comes to special needs parenting. It is not for the weak. It is a very tough job. And we as special needs parents, special needs moms, we deal with a lot of anxiety, depression, PTSD, because we are just so in depth with what's going on with our children, whether it's multiple surgeries, things like that, near-death experiences, the whole 9 yards. It is something, but we also have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves. Self-care is a huge part when it comes to being a special needs parent. You have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to take care of your children and your children to thrive and be healthy. That's a non-negotiable. I also have a masterclass on self-care. I'll make sure everything is in the show notes. If you listening are interested, it is great. And I dive into a lot of self-care tips that you can take to really heal yourself, calm your nervous system, and just regulate yourself, because we have to be in that calm space and have our nervous system regulated so that we can attack the things that may challenge us as special needs parent, whether it's co-parenting and dealing with, the other parent, which that can be a fucking struggle. And I know me personally, that's a struggle pretty much daily, but you have to handle it with boundaries and you have to handle it with respect. Okay. Whether you like them or not, you always have to be respectful. And I know that hasn't always been 100% the whole time I've co-parented with my children's father, but I have learned that you have to take a step back and you really have to just approach things in a calm, respectful manner, whether or not they're going to be respectful or not. You would hope, but you cannot control anybody else. The only one you can control is yourself, right? And I know that can bring on a lot of anxiety when it comes to dealing with co-parenting or dealing with family members or dealing with the school district or doctors or therapists. You have to just come from a place where it's calm, it's neutral, and a lot of times we have to keep our personal feelings out of it. Now, it's not saying that we can't advocate for them. It's just we have to be in that calm, respectful place to make sure that we try to get what we need for our child so they can thrive and succeed. So that's pretty much all I have for this podcast episode. So like I said, if you're interested in a self-care masterclass, it's a 2.0 style. It'll help you elevate your self-image, self-confidence, and really get you in that good space for self-care with some good tips. I'll leave a link in the show notes. If you're interested in more of what I've talked about as far as depression and anxiety and really getting additional support, check out the details of my coaching program. It is a 12-month program. I will dive into giving resources, tips, coaching calls, all the good stuff in that program. So you want the 411, check out the link in the bio or in the show notes. Feel like I'm getting a plug for Instagram. So, and if you have an interesting story, please shoot me an email. I love to hear stories. I love to hear other moms, other parents share their experience and their journey because we're all in this together, right? So, hope you guys have an awesome, awesome week and turkey. So I will drop another podcast episode before Thanksgiving because we're going to wrap up recording for 2023 here very, very soon. I'm super excited because I've got some new episodes with some new content for 2024. So I'm really excited to put that out there for you guys. So hope you guys have a great week and I will chat with you next week.